This is the 2025 Triumph Trident 660, updated for the new model year with plenty of features now fitted as standard. And so while the first gen was very good indeed, in fact I even bought one, well this should be better than ever. Thing is though, on the sort of middleweight affordable naked market there's an increasing amount of competition, and they're all being updated as well with the latest bells and whistles. And so is the Trident still a bike that should be on your shortlist, or is there something else that's better? I mean, the main thing I think that really makes it very easy to get on with is the fact that it's a pretty small bike. It's 805mm in the seat, is nice and light at 190 kilograms fully fueled up. And so if you do encounter a little bit of traffic like this, it's the sort of bike you can just thread through it. Absolutely no problems. Now, I think that's probably what also has helped it to sell well because, of course, it's going to be appealing to newer riders who don't want a huge machine to get to grips with if they're not that experienced. And it's just comfortable too. Like, it's less aggressive than something like a street shuffle, even the R model. So you're not particularly cramped in the leg. You're fairly sat up. You're not over the front so much. And so it's still reasonably sporty if you want it to be, but more so a sat up kind of easygoing ergonomic. And like I say, just make it feel like a bike you'd want to jump on for quick little trips, commuting, getting around town, and still for a bit of fun, if you so wish. And look, here we go. As the road opens up, you can see it does that recreational side of things really well as well. This engine is such a little peach. Oh, lost my camera there. It might only be 80 horsepower or whatever it is, but it's very competitive versus the, immediate competition. It's pretty good, in fact. I think only the 750 Hornet from Honda can outdo it in that regard. But it's just that really nice mid-range that you get with the triple, and there aren't necessarily any surges. There's not loads of bottom end torque and then it dies off at the top. It's not gutless and then has plenty of rush at the top. It's just nice and consistent all the way through the rev range, which makes it brilliant fun for road riding and really easy to get on with. Then you've got the handling as well. I think they've made a little tweak for this year in terms of the comfort on the fork. Maybe some people found the previous gen, the first iteration of the Trident, a little bit firm in that regard, so and perhaps this is a touch more cushy, but it's still really nicely poised. Like I say, not a lot of weight to it, 190 kilos. And so it's just a little fun bike. There's nothing too serious about it. Just like her, yeah. A nice little toy. It's been a little while since I rode the last one, but I'm not feeling any real sacrifice in terms of handling for those suspension changes. And then a lot of the same stuff's really good about it. The tires, you get decent Michelin Road 5s, is it, or 6s? And also the Nissan 2-pot brakes look perhaps a little bit under spec versus the competition, but actually they're really quite good out on the road. So look, lots and lots to like about this bike, but there were a couple of criticisms of the previous gen, and one of the most common was that the throttle map definitely erred towards the side of newer riders by being quite soft, and perhaps more experienced riders who are expecting something a bit lively like the MTO7 maybe found it just a touch underwhelming and like it could have had a bit more snap. Now, since the introduction of the first generation Trident 660, they've also released the Daytona 660 sports bike on the same platform, and that bike came with a sport mode that definitely livened things up. And so the great news for 2025 on this bike is that if you do hit the... I'll lose my camera again. If you do hit the mode switch on the left-hand switch gear, you'll see you've now got rain, road, and sport. Close the throttle to confirm, and then things do definitely get a bit more silly, in a good way. That is always where the MTO7 has excelled. It's a bike that is somewhat appealing, I think, to newer riders. But also, more experienced riders have a lot of fun on it because it's got a really direct throttle map and a very torquey and lively engine. And so it's a bit bonkers actually for a 70 horsepower twin. This now has a little bit more of that personality, which is a really, really good thing. Yeah, definitely picks up a lot quicker and certainly addresses that shortcoming. Oh my goodness, yes. Exactly what it needed. It's a much more direct feeling, as if that ever put you off the previous gen, I think this one is really now worth checking out. The other thing that was a little disappointing, perhaps, and I understand they have to draw the line somewhere in terms of features when they're building bikes down to a fairly competitive price point, but it was the fact that it didn't get cruise control, which, for a bike with a ride-by-wire throttle, in 2022, was it when it came out, or 21? I just felt like was a bit of a miss. Not everybody loves the idea of cruise control, but for me, I use bikes to get around for work and stuff, and a lot of people probably would think of using this as a potentially a commuter. And so for those little motorway stints, which can be a real snore, a quick bit of cruise control just to take the strain off the wrist is always welcome, in my opinion anyway. Now, it's not the most complex system. It's no, active cruise control with radars. It's not even an up and down button so you can nudge it, the speed up by 1 mile an hour increments. It's simply one of those single buttons on the back of the left-hand switchgear there, which just allows you to lock your current speed that you set by holding the throttle in the right spot. But it's there. And it's a help. And I think at this price, given that it's coming as standard as well, it's good enough. Now, I think one thing that you could say is quite impressive about this 2025 update is the fact that the price has actually remained the same as last year, starting at £7,895. And yet, at the same time, they've actually added quite a lot of new stuff, like the sport mode that we just covered and the cruise control. Both traction control and ABS are now lean sensitive, courtesy of a new 6-axis IMU. The quick shifter, which was previously a few £100 to fit as an accessory, now comes as standard, as does the Bluetooth connectivity module, which opens up calls, messaging, and turn-by-turn nav through the switchgear and dash. Now, I took some time to compare this feature set with the immediate competition, all of which are priced within about £1,000 of each other. I'll admit, it did take a little while to put together, but basically, I've scored the bikes as an A if the feature comes as standard, B if it can be fitted at an extra cost, and C if it's simply not available as an accessory or otherwise. Now, this table is ordered by price descending, and so you'll see that the Trident sits towards the middle of the pack in that regard, but it's the only one with a full suite of technology fitted as standard, and there are also a couple of other features that are missed, like self-cancelling indicators. Perhaps the only downside is the dash, with all the other bikes getting full rectangular TFTs, whereas this one is a split design with an inverted LCD at the top for the basics and a smaller TFT at the bottom for all the fancy stuff. From the comments on our videos about all the different Triumphs that use this dash,